And now it's on to Jammu and Kashmir. That's polling in the third phase of these assembly elections. Now, it is the bullet versus the ballot in this phase. In fact, tight security has been in place following last Friday's wave of terror strikes that hit the state from north to south Kashmir. 16 seats are polling today across 3 districts. 138 candidates fighting for these seats, including the incumbent Chief Minister Omar Abdullah, who's contesting from Birwa. He's one of 4 ministers in the fray. It's also a high-stakes round for the PDP that's going to the polls. Now, after the high turnouts in the first 2 phases, it is a test for those statistics today. As we said last Friday, 4 synchronized militant attacks in Uri, Srinagar, Shopian and Tral left 8 army men and 3 policemen as well as 2 civilians dead. Prime Minister Modi addressed a massive rally at the Sher-e-Kashmir Stadium in Srinagar yesterday. Well, my colleague Vikram Chandra now joins us live from Sopore in Kashmir for more on this. Vikram, we are seeing turnout percentages coming in for the morning, certainly lower in these parts of the valley than we have seen in the last couple of phases. Is it fair to say that it is impacted by the wave of terror, or that these constituencies traditionally take their time to come out to the polls?
Maya, I think it's definitely the latter. In fact, I think the numbers that we are seeing today are far more staggering and far more striking than what we saw in phase 1 and phase 2. Because what you're seeing, the areas that are voting have often traditionally seen a boycott. I'm in Sopore, which, as you know, is one of the key separatist bastions, hardly ever sees voting. In the Lok Sabha polls, Sopore saw a polling of less than 1%, something like 1,000 votes in the whole of the parliamentary constituency. Now, I'm at this particular polling station, which has already seen 600 votes being cast out of 2,800. That's 21%. Now, 21% in the context of Sopore is absolutely staggering. It means far more than what 70% or 80% would be in Uri or in Budgam. In fact, some of the people around me, once again, voting for the first time ever. In fact, here's a very interesting person we have with us, one of the candidates out here. Voted for the first time and for yourself, right?
Yeah, I voted for the first time and for myself.
So, Sajad Sheikh, you're here. You've never voted in your life. You decided to contest this time. Why?
I have decided to contest because I wasn't able to save my people from harassment of forces, from arbitrary arrests. I'd like to share an example. Few days back, when I decided I'll contest elections, there is one area which is around 5 to 8 kilometers from here, maybe 4 kilometers extra.
Right.
Rampur and Rajpur. We still have people who army takes up for the labor and doesn't pay them. So we say.
But there'll always be people who will look at you and saying, why are you contesting? Why go for electoral politics? Why not just boycott? Traditionally, Sopore has always seen a boycott. This time looks different. I'm looking at the people around you, they're all voting.
I must say that the party on whose ticket I'm contesting is Awami Ittihad Party, led by Engineer Rashid and MLA Langate. His major aim has to save people from harassment. And if in case I have to save my people, I need to have authority. You talk to anybody around, the forces go on rampage. They take anybody for a ride, and they take people along with their brothers, sisters to the camp and make them work for a week and don't pay them. If it means you don't trust me, you can come with me. And my major objective is to save people from those harassments, from tortures. And
did you find it tough to tell people to come out and vote this time?
It's really tough because people do not have faith in the electoral system here. That's why people have always boycotted, and 80% have abstained and 20% have come out.
But this time there are people voting.
Oh yes, they have. 20%, 80%. It's also worthy to say that 80% didn't contest and come to elect. More than majority haven't come up, okay, and 20% have come up.
All right, so that's one of the candidates from right out here, but you are seeing a number of people, 21% voting so far. Maya, it's the context of where you are which really tells a big story. And we are here in Sopore, not far from the home of Hurriyat leader Abdul Ghani Bhat.
Right. Also, in fact, in the sense, Vikram, we saw some Hurriyat leaders call for a boycott, although many say that the boycott call has been a little weak, given that we're hearing voices as well that say when it comes to issues of local governance, Bijli, Sadak, Pani, they need an administration in place that they can turn to. They're looking for accountable representatives, but don't confuse that with the larger issue of aspirations and of freedom, as the case may be. India would do well not to confuse the two things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think some of the triumphalism that we saw certainly after phase 1 and phase 2 perhaps are a little misplaced. Many people didn't take that too well here in the valley. You have to understand the context in which people are standing and the context in which people are voting. I was at Sangrama a short while back. People there saying they were voting it as a local candidate whom they think will understand their issues. You just heard what Sajad here said about why he himself is contesting and all these people have come out to vote for him. So it's a very different sort of an issue that takes place, and it can change perceptibly when you move from rural areas to urban areas and from one town to the other.
Right, Vikram, thanks very much for joining us from Sopore. We'll come back to you, of course, through the day. As you said, 21% at the polling station you're in, certainly indicative of the kind of enthusiasm you are seeing as far as voters are concerned in this particular assembly election in Jammu and Kashmir. Thanks, Vikram. We'll be back with you in the course of the day.